She and Ellie have done such a great job in the gallery. And
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
they have just received a grant recently.
Yes.
We'll keep them going for
Another year.
years, or 2,
One.
or 3. One. So congratulations to...
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful thing. So I wanted to say a few words about David and our collaborations. They've been going on. The works you see here, they've been made over a couple of years. It's a toing and froing thing. We've worked here in Toowoomba. I've been in Magnetic Island. David's been here. David's been out in the bush. We've posted work to each other. So it's not just like we stand around and in the studio and paint them, but we used to do that when we had a studio made down the road. But since then it's been a bit different. I think it sort of works quite well when we're not sort of with each other, drinking. So it's an interesting mix of ways of combining and collaborating.
Can you put your arms around each other now?
Oh, that's nice.
And can I just say also, as like co-collaborating artists, how beautiful you work together. Like it's not just about the technical and aesthetic, it's the heart connection that you both have, the friendship that comes through the work and singing together. Beautiful.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Friendship first, I guess.
Yeah. But it's also about, like, if you read the screed that's here in the gallery, it's about our feelings about nature and about how humans, we're the vulnerable party in the game, nature. Mother Nature's been around evolving for millennia, and we're just transient. We only live for a certain amount of time. Mother Nature, she goes on forever. And so a lot of this is about how we fit into Mother Nature. So while some of the works might look a bit witty and funny, but it actually has a serious background. Is that pretty good? Beautiful thing. Now, the other thing I was going to mention, which I should, because as well as having our collaborative paintings here, we have artist books. And David's book that he made some time ago, I thought was really exciting and worth editioning. So we did a small edition of 10 of the books, which is his first edition. And it's a book about, what's it about, David?
Rock and roll folly.
Yeah. But it's also about, life, humanity, what happens in your life, and, transience again. And he's used collage and text, handwritten text, and it's written really from the heart. And I thought, what a great book to edition, because we were originally going to edition or make a book out of David's show he had at USQ about records and what he wrote about each of those records, which is also autobiographical. And this is also autobiographical.
So mostly bullshit.
Well, on one level, but on another level there's a lot of deep stuff. Yeah. And then there's my set of books here, which is called The Book of Remarkably Meaningless and Extremely Irrelevant Sequences.
But there's still a very deep philosophical, serious component.
Well, it's a bit of a send-up of the idea of artists making artist books, because what's everyone doing? Oh, let's make an artist book. So there's a lot of artists out there making artist books for no apparent reason, just because it's a sort of trendy thing to do. So mine is a non-sequential thing, which I think a lot of artists do. So I don't want to be too critical of my peers, but, well, there's none of them in Toowoomba who do that, but in other places. So it's taking the mickey out of that a bit, which is quite sort of an interesting thing for me to do. So that's that bit. So the interesting thing about this book is, I have to tell you the story, and I feel a bit embarrassed to tell you the story. It's called The Book of Remarkably Meaningless and Extremely Irrelevant Sequences. And I made a set of these books, and I put them all together. They're all stapled together. Then I read the introduction and thought, oh my God, I spelled irrelevant wrongly. And in the original I spelled irrelevant with an ENT, not an ANT. And most people wouldn't even notice. But because I'm a bit anal sometimes, I didn't actually want to tell you that. I had sent these books off to a show in Sydney about Dada, and I felt really embarrassed that I'd done that. And also the guy who made the box for this, a guy called Robert Vitan, who lives in Toowoomba, he'd, in good faith, done the text the same way with irrelevant, not irrelevant.
At least you're consistent.
And you can see, I had to then say to him, Robert, we've made a mistake. I've made a mistake. Can you please change this? So we had to cut this out and then replace it with the other bit of text. You can see the cutout. But he did it so well.
It's a good story.
Yeah. So
like the cutout. Yeah, me too.
it's interesting when we all make mistakes, not just as artists, but say in life. We do something that sort of doesn't work or we stuff it up, but often leads to other things. Like recently I had a commission to do a series of 25 prints for an exhibition and a touring show in Melbourne. And I left it so long because Catherine and I were up north and I was doing other things. And then it came to, I had a week left to do it. And I started these prints with these beautiful, expensive bits of paper and I stuck it up. And then I had 3 days to do this edition of prints. So I had to come up with another idea, which I did, and it was much better than the original idea. So by stuffing up, you know, another thing happened. It's like serendipitous that sometimes these things occur. So it's not just about art, it's about a lot of stuff. It might be about relationships, it might be about jobs, it could be about a lot of things. So sometimes when things don't work out, there's a reason why. One thing leads to another. Anyway, on that note, that's enough from me. So thanks so much for listening, and thanks for coming.
Yeah.